What is Sikhism? We are going to find out. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, so partially why I chose to do this live stream today is because I am actually rather unfamiliar with Sikhism. They're like some of the religions that I review on this channel and talk about stuff. I have at least some familiarity with, or I'm like, relatively knowledgeable or know to a certain extent some things about them. This is one religion that I don't know a lot about, so I was actually really curious to see what Sikhism is all about. And I mean, partially reason also for this is because I've been seeing it pop up in my feed. I've been seeing, I think sometimes it pops up in my comments as well and stuff. And I was like, okay, all right, I want to understand what Sikhism is. So I'm going to be reacting to Kajito. I like their videos. They're kind of fun and interesting to me. So I think I'll be reacting to one of those, and we'll see how much time I have left. I might react to another video. Um, but yeah, so as always, friends, if you enjoy these videos, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I got a bunch of interesting stuff coming up. I got more interviews coming up. I got a mosque visit video coming out, and a bunch of good things. I'm also, for some of you who don't know, I have a podcast called Light the World Podcast. So it takes some of my longer form YouTube videos and some of my interviews and things like that. Things that are a little bit longer in length. I put them on there on audio only version. So if like you're working or something, you want to listen to an audio only version of the video, you can. It is available for you. So I do that. And I got I just actually got some sample merch in today to start testing. We'll see what it looks like. We'll see how I like it. But they'll be coming in throughout the next couple weeks. I'm hoping that I like the merch. Hoping to drop some for you guys in a couple weeks or so. But we'll see. I'm doing a lot of updating and rebranding. You might have noticed that with the whole website. I'm with my YouTube channel stuff and the new logo and things. I've been doing some rebranding recently. But I'm looking forward to keep getting you guys what you deserve. Hello, Abadarim Muhammad. I don't know how I said, if I probably butchered that first part of your name, but hello, how are you? Welcome to today's live stream. Glad to have you. But yeah, so I think that's mostly covers the information that some of the opening intro stuff. I'm going to be on another person's podcast Wednesday. Saturday I'm going to be doing a live stream on So if you guys remember Ahmed from an interview I did over a month ago about Ramadan. Ahmed and I had an interview on my channel. We plan on doing a live stream this Saturday to kind of talk about Ramadan and everything that happened on both of our channels. There'll be live stream on both of our channels, so you can check it out here as well. And I forget what time Saturday. I'll update you guys on the time when that's going to be. And this Friday, I'm hoping to drop the mosque visit video. A bunch of good stuff coming out. A bunch of good stuff. So stay tuned for all that. But yeah, so without further ado, those are all the announcements. I think we'll hop into the video, get started, and have some fun with it. I'm looking forward to it. I took a break this weekend from content creation. I was posting something every day pretty much for the past month. I wanted to take a little weekend to myself, so I didn't post any video on Saturday. I didn't do a live stream or anything. I just kept to myself, but I'll get back into the action here. I'm glad to hear you're doing fine. I'm glad to hear you're doing fine. Wonderful news.
Made possible thanks to Audible.
Thank you,
Visit
Audible.
audible.com/Cogito or text Cogito to 500 500 to start your 30-day free trial. This is the Harry Mandir, the world's largest free kitchen. It serves free vegetarian food to about 100,000 people every day. It's also the holiest site in Sikhism, the fifth largest and youngest of the world religions. A religion that
Whoa, wait, hold up. I'm curious what these numbers are saying here. Go back. So, 2,414... Oh, followers in millions. Okay, I was like, what do these numbers do? I like how the text right here is in my way. But, so, 2,400, 1,200, 1,150, 521, 25. So, Sikhism has 25 million followers. One of the youngest out of these groups. Okay. I'm curious to see how it got started. But okay, I was just curious what those numbers are. Judaism, what's interesting to me about Judaism is that Judaism is like a major religion, well known by a lot of people, but actually it's actually not that big. There's actually there's quite a few religious sectors and things that are competitively just as big as Judaism. So it's always interesting to me how Judaism is so well known, but at the same time it's pretty small, things considered.
religions. A religion that preaches about love, peace, and the equality of humankind, but also asks its followers to carry swords. So, who are the Sikhs? What do they believe? And why does everyone confuse them for Muslims? Well, let's find out.
I won't lie. Whenever I've seen Sikhs on TV or, in like internet stuff, I was always I was always like, okay, I'm not sure if they are more closely associated with Muslims or more closely associated with Hindus, or they're completely separate altogether. I wasn't exactly sure where they diverge from, but we'll see.
Well, let's find out.
They have nice visual effects.
Sikhism originated in the Punjab area of India and Pakistan 500 years ago. The Punjab, the land of 5 rivers, is one of the most historically and culturally dense areas on Earth. This was the home of one of the world's earliest civilizations, the Indus Valley Civilization. Persians, Greeks, Central Asians, Mughals, the British, and others have all invaded here. I meant Mughals. Mughals invaded here. Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Jainism, and a handful of other faiths have all left their mark on the region. The diverse culture of the Punjab has heavily influenced the Sikhs. Today there are about 25 million Sikhs. They make up about 2% of India's population, but about 60% of the Punjabs.
Wow.
The Sikh diaspora is spread out across the world, with concentrations in the UK, Canada, the US, East Africa, Australia, and Malaysia. Sikhs, interestingly enough, make up about 1.5% of Canada's population, which is second only to India. The word Sikh means learner. Sikhs call their religion Sikhi, Gursikhi, and Gurmat. You can't really understand the Sikhs without understanding their relationship with gurus. The word guru means a teacher or spiritual guide. The guru teaches and the Sikh learns. The Sikhs follow the teachings of 10 succeeding gurus.
This is starting to sound a lot like Hinduism. Already it sounds a lot like Hinduism. I'm not sure if it divulged. Like, it says it's in the India region. So it sounds like if it's from the India region, it's probably heavily influenced by Hinduism. Because already with the talk of gurus and sort of like sitting down and learning from gurus, and also with the whole vegetarian intro thing, I'm starting to think this might be influenced heavily by Hinduism, but we'll see.
Gurus that have shaped Sikhism. The first and most important guru is Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism. Born in 1469 CE near what is today Lahore, Pakistan. Nanak was seen as special even as a child. As a baby, he was said to have had the laugh of an adult man. Here comes the bird. As a teenager, he preferred to listen to Hindu saints and Sufi Muslim preachers rather than his own parents. As an adult, Nanak would settle in Sultanpur, where he worked for the government. The actions of his fellow government officials and the rich and powerful disgusted him as they exploited ordinary working people, and he hated the caste divisions that he saw all around him. One day, while bathing in a river near Sultanpur, Nanak had a miraculous experience. He was swept up into God's court, where God spoke to him. Nanak reappeared 3 days later, declaring, "There is no Hindu and there is no Muslim. There was only God."
Okay, so this is already fascinating me. The reason why this is fascinating me is because it sounds like if he was influenced by Sufism, where was that? If he was influenced by Sufism and Hinduism, this makes a lot of sense now why you would, one, they would be confused with Muslims, and two, why they have like a lot of things that are in alignment with Hinduism. Because Sufism is like a more, by what I understand, mystical version of Islam. Like, it doesn't fall within traditional Islam, but it has like a mystical twist on Islam. This is actually kind of making sense now. This is all starting to make sense. But I'm curious now. So there is no Hindu, there is no Muslim, there is just God. Interesting. That sounds very much like a
message
common day
inspired
phrase
by his experience with God. One that spoke in favor of the equality of humankind and against caste, ethnic, and religious divisions. Nanak would later say, "Accept all humans as your equals and let them be your only sect."
This sounds very 21st century Western America. It sounds like a phrase I would hear at college, because like at a lot of colleges, like the ones I went to, they're always like, love yourself, love others, be kind. It's like a lot of this might rub some people the wrong way, but they sound a lot like empty platitudes. They're just very they. What do you mean by being kind? What do you mean by accepting others and stuff like that? What do you really mean when you say that? What does that actually look like? You can say that. It's nice words and it has a nice feeling to it, but at the end of the day, what does that really mean?
9 human gurus followed Nanak, all preaching the same message of one God and the equality of humankind. 2 fundamental events that shaped Sikh history was the martyrdom of 2 gurus. The first was the 5th guru, Guru Arjan, who was roasted alive by the Mughal Emperor Jahangir. The next martyr will be the 9th guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur. He was beheaded by the Mughals while attempting to defend the religious rights of Hindus. His son, Guru Gobind Rai.
Wait, who were the Mughals real fast? That's a... Mughals. Who were the Mughals? The Mughal Empire was an early modern empire that controlled most of South Asia between 6th and 9th century for some 200 years. Mughals' religion. So if he was trying to defend the rights of Hindus, what was their religion? Islam. Retain aspects of Mongol culture well into the 6th century, such as raiment and tents and around the royal. Okay, so they would have had a more Islamic bent, which would then explain why he was like, there's no Hinduism, there's no Hindu or Islam, there's just God, and we should all. Okay, that would explain a little bit more of his whole route towards trying to find a middle ground between the two, because he's trying to reconcile the divisions and the infighting he's seeing within his region. Okay, that makes sense.
The 10th and final human guru started a new Sikh community called the Khalsa and ended the line of human gurus by making the Guru Granth Sahib, the Sikh holy book, the last living guru. We'll take a closer look at both of these in a bit. So with that brief history out of the way, let's take a look at the core beliefs of Sikhism.
Alright, let's do it.
1. One God. The Sikh holy book, the Guru Granth Sahib's opening sentence is just 2 words. Ik Onkar. There is only one God. Right. Nanak made sure it was clear that the focus was on one. Ik doesn't just mean one, it is literally the numeral 1. One God is by far the most important belief in Sikhism. This may not be the kind of God you're used to though. Sikhs believe in a formless, genderless, universal God, beyond description. This God is all of reality and is within everything.
So
they believe...
So that sounds almost like pantheism. So it sounds like... it. Again, I'm seeing the Hinduism and the Islam coming together with Sikhism here. Because one God being emphasized would make sense with the Islam influence. But the pantheistic side of this sort of God that they're describing right now, with God being in all of us, it's sort of reality in general, would fall in line pretty well with Hindu understanding of Brahman and the world and the universe we live in. So I'm already kind of seeing the blending of religions.
If no idol or image could ever represent this being, so they use the sacred symbol of Ik Onkar to represent it instead. Many Sikhs refer to this one God by the name Waheguru, Wondrous Lord. Guru Nanak and his followers constantly emphasized that this one could be understood in many different ways. No religion had a monopoly on the truth. Nanak's one could be known as Vishnu, Allah, the Tao, Yahweh, the algorithm, or any other name or belief. There was no need to fight over whose God was the true God, as they were all the same one. Recognize all mankind with their...
The history here is very important. Like whenever I hear about, especially like younger religions, but like whenever I hear about religions kind of like Sikhism here, the history is very important. Because I forget what the guy's name was who founded this, he would have been growing up in a time period where he saw a lot of warfare and a lot of persecution and a lot of bloodshed. And there is something that arises in a person that they want to reconcile the differences between people. They want there to no longer be fighting. They want there to no longer be division. And they see what to them seems to be the core problem, which is the difference in belief system, the difference in religion. The reason why there's infighting, the reason why the Mughals are killing the Hindus, or the reason why this is happening, is because they have these different religious systems that make it that they can't get along. So if we can create a new religious system that actually brings everyone together and doesn't cause any sort of disagreement and can sort of say that we all have the truth. We're all seeking God. There's multiple paths to heaven. This will unite us together, and this will stop all the fighting and so forth. Like the history and the backdrop for this religion is actually, I think, very important in understanding how it came to be. At least it seems like that's important to me. It seems like that plays at least a big role into Sikhism here. Now, obviously, I'm sure anyone who believes in Sikhism would argue that there's spiritual revelation involved and that there's spiritual truth involved, and the gurus had spiritual experience. I'll let people decide for themselves what they believe about that. But I think to me the history speaks a lot into how Sikhism got started, and I think that's a very just interesting background that he started with there.
Muslim or Hindu as one. The same God is the creator and nourisher of all. Recognize no distinctions among them. The temple and the mosque are the same, so are Hindu worship and Muslim prayer. Human beings are all one. Guru Gobind Singh. The lack of a gender for this one God means that there is no difference between men and women in Sikhism. Sikhism was among the first major world religions to make the radical suggestion that maybe, just maybe, women are people too. Women in Sikhism have fought battles, led religious services, and even means that there is no difference between men and women in Sikhism. Sikhism was among the first major world religions to make the radical suggestion that maybe, just maybe,
I think that's a bit condescending to other religions. Like that seems a bit condescending. Because all right. So I won't lie or say that a lot of major world religions don't have gender roles involved in their doctrines or in what their belief systems are. Of course, gender roles vary according to certain religious groups. And you even have certain religious groups that aren't nearly as big as the ones mentioned in this video that are even more matriarchal than they are patriarchal in structure. But just because a religion would emphasize gender roles or have maybe a different understanding of how the sexes should interact, or whatever role they play in society, doesn't mean that they don't believe women are humans. It doesn't mean that they believe that women are less valuable than men, or that women don't deserve rights or anything like that. It's a different understanding of how God may have wanted the structure of society, or may have wanted order within society. It's a different understanding of what may be best for a society. And oftentimes, at least I know from at least a Christian perspective, women are held up with high regard and dignified fashion. So I don't know. I find this to be a bit condescending, but we'll move on.
Women are people too. Women in Sikhism have fought battles, led religious services, and even acted as some of the longest reigning leaders of the entire community. Sikhism isn't based on doing things to get into some heaven or hell. Hell is just life on earth, which your soul is constantly reborn into after you die, which is pretty dark. You see, Sikhs believe in reincarnation and karma, similar to Buddhists, Hindus and Jains.
Yeah.
But Sikhs believe that karma is modified by God, as in, karma might decide what life you're born into, but God makes sure that anyone can become a good person in their lifetime if they try. The goal of Sikh life is to break free from the cycle of rebirth by merging your soul back into God's soul. One does this by realizing that you are already a part of God. You just need to let go of your ego. When your soul remerges...
So, this is very intriguing to me, because this is very much... It sounds very much like Hinduism with a little bit of a monotheistic twist to it. It's so interesting to me. Again, the history plays a big part in this, because the whole idea of reincarnation and trying to escape the reincarnation cycle has a lot of Hindu underpinnings in its philosophy, or Buddhist underpinnings, depending on whichever one you... Although Buddhism just broke off of Hinduism, so a lot of Hindu underpinnings to it. But at the same time, it throws in this sort of one God... sovereign, sort of monotheistic, it throws in like a monotheistic twist to it. or something. Like, again, this doesn't surprise me if you're influenced by both Hinduism and Islam at the same time. It wouldn't be surprising to see that sort of blending going on. Um, so I think that's kind of interesting. I just find this whole blending thing interesting. I also think it's important to again understand. It would seem to me as an outsider at least that the gurus who were heavily involved in the starting of this movement were really hoping to find a way to bring the end persecution, to end bloodshed, to bring peace, whatever it may be. So it definitely, again, the history seems to speak a lot into what we see in their beliefs.
Back into gods, this is called mukti, which is similar to Hinduism's moksha and means liberation. When you remerge, your soul is released from the cycle of rebirth and death and becomes infinite, timeless, and blissful. This is the closest thing Sikhs have to heaven. 2. Maya. Sikhs believe that God is and created reality. But we forget this because humans are distracted by illusion or Maya, which is anything that takes your mind off God. Maya keeps people trapped in the cycle of rebirth and death. Guru Nanak thought that Maya built a wall between people and God. The wall of Maya is built with the 5 thieves: lust, anger, greed, attachment, and pride. It is the duty of all Sikhs to avoid these thieves. The 5 thieves are caused by how mai, literally I, myself. How mai makes people say, I am this, I am that, and it separates you from others, which blocks you from realizing your oneness with God. This ego causes people to live only for themselves, to spew negativity, and to crave power and wealth. Such a person is called munmukh, facing towards desires. Guru Nanak saw the world's problems as the negative effects of ego. Hindu versus Muslim, Israeli versus Palestinian, sitting down wipers versus standing up wipers.
What?
All of these conflicts are caused by ego and Maya. The Guru Granth Sahib said it is not religion or race, but it is wealth that divides brothers. But Guru Nanak thought that there was another direction people could face. By being a spiritual person, practicing compassion, truth, contentment, humility, and love, and meditating on God, you could instead become Gurmukh, facing towards the Guru. How does one become Gurmukh and egoless? Well, Sikhism offers a path to follow that can help, called the 3 pillars. 3 pillars. The 3 pillars are 1. Nam Japo, which is meditation on God and the reciting and chanting of God's name, Way Guru. This is normally done in the morning and before bed. This isn't supposed to just be some mindless ritual either. Sikhs are supposed to genuinely reflect on the qualities of God as they do this. 2. Kirat Karni, working hard and making an honest living. Guru Nanak said, only he who earns his living by the sweat of his brow and shares his earnings with others has discovered the path of righteousness. 3. Wand Chakna. This is sharing the fruits of your labour with others, providing free food and donating to the community. The Sikh tradition of a communal meal or langar at the Gurdwaras is a part of Wand Chakna. The langar or communal free kitchen inside of a Sikh Gurdwara, which is their equivalent of a mosque or church, is open to all who visit, regardless of caste, faith or gender. These serve vegetarian food to all, not because Sikhs have to be vegetarian, but simply because that means all people of all diets can partake. So if you want to taste typical Punjabi food, just go visit a Gurdwara. In Guru Nanak's time, the idea of different castes sitting together on the floor and eating side by side was a revolutionary act. Famously, the Mughal Emperor.
That's so interesting to me. Because I guess that would be very revolutionary if you lived in a time period where different caste systems were supposed to be segregated. Pulling them all together would have been pretty revolutionary, especially at the time. I'm not sure how the caste system exactly works in India anymore, or in Hinduism exactly. I know it still exists in some ways, but I don't know if it still exists in the same way it did back then. But yeah, this is kind of intriguing to me because I would agree with a lot of some of the core problems that they identify. I would kind of agree with to a certain extent. I mean, self-obsession and pride and ego leads to disaster and leads to a lot of problems. Because most sin is driven by selfishness. Most sin is driven by the desire to satisfy one's own need over the needs of others, over helping draw near to God or become holier. a lot of times it's just pure selfishness, greed, and the satisfaction of your own earthly desires that leads you to do wrong and evil. And so it is important then to practice other qualities. Perhaps so. Again, I think sometimes the one interesting things about these type of belief systems is then there seems to be this general understanding of like everyone has a piece of the truth or everyone has some truth, but at the same time you should be one of us to have the full truth. It just always strikes me as interesting because like in the beginning there's like this idea of, hey, everyone has the truth, everyone has a piece of God, no one can fully know God, but if you really want to escape this reincarnation cycle, you kind of need to believe what we believe and practice what we practice. It just seems sort of, I don't know. I don't want to come across condescending or anything, but I'm trying to understand. So if anyone's a Sikh or knows better than I, let me know. But it just definitely sounds to me a little bit counterintuitive. Like it seems like you are establishing a way of life, but at the same time trying to say that everyone has a piece of the pie. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this. Hello, Flower. Welcome to the live stream. Glad to see you again. How you doing?
Emperor Akbar visited Guru Arjan, and the Guru would not meet with him until he partook in a langar, which the Emperor did, sitting side by side with peasants. Guru Nanak claimed an enlightened person are those who view everyone equally, like the heir touching the king and beggar alike. Another vital part of Sikhism that isn't one of the three pillars is seva, which is selfless service. Through service to their community, Sikhs can become more humble and overcome their ego. Seva can include cleaning up the Gurdwara, preparing food, or cleaning dishes in the langar, or it can include volunteering, building things for your community, or subscribing and ringing the notification bell on educational YouTube channels.
I respect that transition.
Through remembering God's name, honest work, and sharing, along with selfless service and avoiding the 5 thieves, a person can rid themselves of egoism and be released from the cycle of rebirth and death. 4. The Khalsa. Guru Gobind Rai was the son of the 9th Guru, Teg Bahadur, who was beheaded by the Mughals and his body was abandoned by his Sikh entourage. They fled easily because no one could recognize them. So, Guru Gobind decided to give Sikhs a distinct look from now on so that they would always be compelled to uphold Sikh values. So, in 1699, Guru Gobind brought his Sikhs together at Anandapur. After their morning prayer, he stood in front of
it's just the blending of Hinduism and Islam. This really just strikes me as a blend of Hinduism and Islam with a let's all get together sort of vibe to it. Because the morning prayer and the nightly prayer definitely sounds like it's something adopted from Islam, but then you have like Hindu practices. It's just so intriguing to me. And I'm finding this whole thing interesting. Human sacrifice. Oh my word! I paused at a bad time. Flowers. The first time looking into such religions. I don't know even what the name to name them since India has a lot of religions. Yeah, it's the first time I've looked into Sikhism. I heard of Sikhism. I knew like of it, but I never knew what it actually was and what they believe. So I am having my eyes opened right now today about Sikhism. It sounds very interesting. It's one of those religions that definitely the history plays a big part into it. I mean, every religion has history to it, so history always plays a big part into any religion system. But this one specifically, just because it definitely seems like they're taking Hinduism and Islam, kind of blending them together and trying to find a way to try to bring peace to everyone. It's definitely a religion that's more of a feel-good religion. Again, the one thing for me is that sometimes it's hard for me to, I guess, the one thing about like religion and philosophy and things like that is that to me the goal is always to find out what's true. And sometimes I hear these some religions that strike me at least as more mystical in origin, more purely philosophical, not necessarily anything rooted in history or like, and by history I mean like there's some sort of fact we can latch on to. It seems a little bit more mystical, it seems a little bit more experiential, which then makes it a little bit harder to validate whether or not it's a true or false thing. It seems more like a feeling or a good thought. It feels good, which doesn't make something true necessarily. So I don't know. It's just one of those things where I was like, huh, it's hard for me to substantiate in my mind. To what extent can you really prove this to be true? It's just one of those things for me. It's interesting. But yeah, this is my first time looking into this Sikhism and trying to understand it. It's interesting. It is interesting. But we'll see. We'll keep going here.
Huge crowd and demanded a human sacrifice.
Alright, let's start this over. Human
by the Mughals, and his body was abandoned by his Sikh entourage. They fled easily because no one could recognize them. So, Guru Gobind decided to give Sikhs a distinct look from now on so that they would always be compelled to uphold Sikh values. So, in 1699, Guru Gobind brought his Sikhs together at Anandapur. After their morning prayer, he stood in front of a huge crowd and demanded a human sacrifice. The shocked crowd was silent for a while before one Sikh rose up and entered the Guru's tent. The Guru followed him in, and then the Guru comes out with blood on his sword. He demands another sacrifice. Another Sikh offers themselves and enters the tent. Again, only the Guru comes back out of the tent, bloody sword in hand. Again, another sacrifice. And again, and finally, after the fifth sacrifice, the Guru re-emerges with the 5 Sikhs all wearing saffron-coloured robes. The Guru declares that these are the Panj Pyarang, the 5 beloved ones. They would form the centre of a new Sikh community called the Khalsa. He offered them Amrit, a bowl of sweetened water, and all 5 who belonged to different caste groups drank the Amrit from the same bowl, which would have been a huge deal back then. This signified they had joined a new casteless family, the Khalsa. Each of these volunteers had to leave behind their old surnames or caste names and adopt the same surname, Singh, which comes from the Sanskrit word Simba, meaning lion. I know, right? It has no relation to the Bantu word Simba, which also means lion. It's just a weird coincidence, which is great. The Guru then begged the 5 beloved ones to let him join their Khalsa. They offered him the Amrit, and the Guru became Guru Gobind Singh. Women were admitted to the Khalsa the same way as men. After drinking the Amrit, they received the surname Kaur, meaning princess. The Khalsa gave the Sikhs a new, unified identity, tied together as
Interesting.
one.
That just makes me think of the Abraham story, because like Abraham goes on the mountain. I mean, at least within Christian tradition, Abraham goes on the mountain under the impression he's going to sacrifice his son, and then God last minute intervenes and prevents Abraham from sacrificing his son, and instead provides a sacrifice of a lamb, a goat, and well, a ram in his place, to spare his son. And basically it's like a sign that, you know, Abraham was going to be faithful to God, and God was faithful to his promise and protection of human life and providing a sacrifice on behalf of humans himself. So like, it just kind of reminds me of that Abraham story, that instead of sacrificing these men, he actually honored them in a way, and made them their own sort of family. I don't know what exactly happened to the rest of the Sikhs that didn't go in that tent. Also, what would have happened if one of the Sikhs from the community was like, as they were going to human sacrifice the people, would have been like, you know what, this is wrong, and like ran in to stop the guy? Like, what would he have done then? And I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud now. Anyway, like, history's history, I guess.
One family with one name, without caste, with the goal of defending the weak.
Huh? Sacrifice for what? And are they death or come back to life? Zombies? No. By what I understand, based on what I can get from this, is that he didn't actually sacrifice them. They went in there and they never came out because they were changing into the new robes. And when they came out, the reason why they were honored was because they were willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the others. So since they were willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the others, they were seen as selfless and as good people, I guess, and therefore were honored for their sacrifice, or for their willingness to be sacrificed. But it doesn't sound like they actually were sacrificed. And if they were actually sacrificed and came back from the dead, that would be a much more interesting twist of things. But no, it definitely sounds like they weren't actually sacrificed. It sounds like that they were simply honored for being selfless enough to potentially be sacrificed. But I could be wrong. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I understand. I don't think they actually at all ever were. It was all a test.
And promoting justice. Today, many Sikhs still undergo the Amrit ceremony and take the surnames Singh and Kaur. The Khalsa were also given new rules to follow, which included the wearing of the Panj Kakar, or the 5Ks. The first was Kes, which is uncut hair to represent discipline. The second was Karga, a small...
Wait, why does uncut hair represent discipline? I'm just trying to think of why that would represent discipline. I don't know if he's going to explain it. I doubt it, but the reason why I'm kind of curious why uncut hair represents discipline is only because I would feel like it takes more discipline to perpetually cut your hair than it does to let your hair grow out. Like, letting your hair grow out seems like it would take a lack of discipline to do that. But cutting your hair takes effort and time and energy. Unless I'm missing something. Unless it's supposed to represent that, you know, like uncut hair grows with time and becomes stronger, that discipline takes time to grow? Maybe? I don't know. I'm just kind of guessing off the top of my head at this point.
Comb in the hair. The third was a kirpan, a sword to uphold justice and protect the weak, which is nowadays usually a small sword. It is importantly not an offensive weapon, and the Sikh code of conduct claims...
Oh, so that's why Sikhs always have those swords. Ah, that makes sense. I've seen them with those swords before, and I always thought, I was like, this look pretty cool. I wonder what they were for. I just always knew they were associated with them, but now that all makes sense. Wait, so let me go back. What was the comb for?
First was Kes, which is uncut hair to represent discipline. The second was Karga, a small comb in the hair. The third was a kirpan, a sword to uphold justice and protect the weak, which is nowadays usually a small sword. It is importantly not an offensive weapon, and the Sikh code of conduct claims it can only be used to destroy tyrants and oppressors. It must not be used for anything else. The fourth is kakahira, kind of loose-fitting boxer shorts to represent sexual restraint. And the fifth is kara, a steel bracelet. Its circular shape represents the infinity of God. Interestingly, the turban is not one of the 5Ks. Instead, it's worn to cover the Sikh's long, uncut hair, the kes. Turbans have become essential to Sikh identity and hold...
Interesting. Because I gotta admit, whenever I think of, like, you know, Sikhism, this is definitely probably the first things you think of. But that makes sense. Use that for your hair. I'm sure if I had really long hair that I'd want to find a way to manage it as well. I think it's like cutting something natural in reference to the hair. It's like people who don't shave to embrace the natural shape, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know either. Your guess is as good as mine. Perhaps one day I'll be able to interview a Sikh or something on my channel and I'll learn more. Because, you know, always open to interviewing new people and learning new things. It's kind of my goal in life, to learn new things. But yeah, your guess is as good as mine, Flower. It sounds reasonable enough.
Very special significance to them. Chances are, if you see someone wearing a turban, the vast majority of the time, that person will be a Sikh, not a Muslim.
Maybe that depends on where you're at. Like, Sikhs, I mean, obviously if you're in India, in a specific region of India, that's probably a good bet that they're probably a Sikh if they're wearing a turban like that. Or, you know, if they're, I don't know, in some parts of the country where they're very popular, or Sikhism is a dense religion. But if you're in a country or countries or whatever where Sikhism is unpopular, and there's not many Sikhs at all, if any, then there's a good chance that they are some other religion or ethnicity. I mean, I guess that would depend on region more than anything else.
5. The Guru Granth Sahib. The Guru Granth Sahib is the holy book of the Sikhs. It contains the teachings of the Gurus and acts as a spiritual guide for Sikhs around the world. It is probably one of the only holy books that contains not only the right...
So he talked about, I don't know if any ever Sikhs watch this video, let me know. How were the other 9 gurus determined to be gurus? Because the first one was determined to be a guru in the beginning because he had a vision. He had a vision, supposedly at least, and then was like, I found a new way of life. But I wasn't entirely sure. It didn't seem to me like the video explained how the other 9 Sikhs the other 9 gurus became known to be gurus. Like, how did they exactly gain the title of being gurus? Did that just come with time or what? I don't know.
Writings of the religion's founders written by themselves rather than after their death, but also the writing of people from other religions. The writings of Muslims and Hindus can be found throughout, along with references to...
none of this surprises me. Sikhism, none of this surprises me because Sikhism sounds like it's just a conglomerate of other religions. Sikhism definitely sounds, but I guess that would make sense because earlier in the video he said that Sikhs believe that every religion at least has a piece of God. That like no religion can really fully know who God is, but every religion has a piece of God or a piece of knowledge of God. So it doesn't surprise me that their religious book is just full of references to other religious books and revelations pulled together under one with a new sort of overarching philosophy to pull it all together. So that doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that you would see multiple references there. It's just interesting to me because this definitely seems like a religion that, again, its history plays a big part in its origin. And again, people who are Sikhs or who believe it would believe that the revelations that these gurus had were legit spiritual revelations. But as an outsider, it definitely does appear to me that the history influenced this religion quite heavily. But yeah. Well, at least that's what I see them dressed like in movies when they have Punjabis weddings. I can't tell you the last time I've seen a movie where I've seen people, wearing stuff like that at a Punjabi wedding. I can't say the last time I've seen a movie like that. But you may be right. I have no reason to tell you. I can't recall any movies I've seen with something like that. But I'm sure you're right, Flower. I trust you on this one.
Judaism, Buddhism, and Christianity. Before his death in 1708, the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh, ended...
Well, so the 10th Guru only died in 1708. This is a young religion. Like, 1708 was only like 300 years ago. Well, a little bit over 300 years ago at this point. But, roughly 300 years ago. So this is actually a rather young religion, all things considered. Huh. Interesting. It's not the youngest religion out there, but it's definitely a young one.
The line of human gurus by bestowing guruship on the Adi Granth, turning it into the Guru Granth Sahib, making it similar to both the Bible and Quran and a living prophet at the same time. To break down the name, the word guru means guru, Granth means book, and Sahib means Lord. Since that moment, the Guru Granth Sahib has been revered as the current living guru. It is treated with extreme respect and care. Oddly enough, the Granth is not only read, but sung. It's made up of thousands of hymns.
That's not really surprising to me. The reason why that's not surprising to me is because a lot of religious teachings and doctrines, at least in older times, even today, were memorized often. Therefore, they were often written in poetic or song-like form. And a lot of religions use chants, song, music, poetry to remember their religious teachings because, well, those things aid memory. So that's pretty much a lot like a lot of other religions. Within the Bible, you have the Psalms and you have like Song of Solomon. You have what are some other? Job's poetic as well, the way it's written at least. So like you have a lot of things within the Bible that were very poetic, at least in their original language. Within Islam, obviously, there's a structure to the Quran that makes it more poetic, more memorable. Even within, Judaism shares text overlap with the Bible, but, some of their other stuff outside of that too. And then Hinduism also, the Vedas and stuff are full of chants and hymns and songs and things like that. So that doesn't really surprise me. A lot of religions have stuff like that.
Mass or service, but a kirtan, meaning communal singing. Normally, these are set to classical Indian music. 6. The Gurdwara. Sikhs gather at Gurdwaras, a word meaning doorway to the Guru. A Gurdwara is only a Gurdwara because it has a copy of the Guru Granth Sahib in it. Men and women of all castes and social standing gather there to join in prayer, singing and eating. This is where you'll find the langar. Anyone can visit a Gurdwara and partake in the service and meal. You only need to follow basic etiquette.
This would definitely be an interesting place to visit, like a Gurdwara or like a Sikh meeting place, because like again, it sounds like everyone's welcome. It sounds like it's kind of like a community center for religious people. This would be definitely very interesting to visit. Maybe I'll have to put this on my checklist for my channel to visit sometime. Because I think I would definitely find it interesting engaging with these people, like just having conversations with them, learning more about what they believe, and just learning more. Really, I think this would be a very interesting place to go because I just think you'd find a very diverse, but very diverse people with very diverse backgrounds and beliefs. I think it would just be very interesting. Plus, it's always nice for me because like you guys see a lot of things that happen on camera. Obviously, I mean, this is what this channel's for learning, for on camera fun, entertainment, and all that stuff. But there's a lot of conversations behind the scenes, off camera, that I don't share for privacy reasons and respect, and because again, my goal with this channel is not only to make great content for you guys, but also to have real, authentic, and good conversations off camera with people from other backgrounds. So there's those. I would just be very interested in also just off camera conversation with some of these people and just delving into it a little bit more and learning more. I hope someday I would see or have a conversation with Sikh about this. Yeah, I mean, I hope to have conversations with Sikhs as well. Every conversation I've had so far with people who believe differently than me on this channel have been good, both on the channel but also off the channel. Again, actually, one of the last interviews I just did off the camera, me and the Farouz that I had on interviewed not that long ago, we had like an hour-long conversation off the camera about beliefs, about our different belief systems, and just discussing things. So like, again, I love talking to people. I love learning more and being able to share what I believe, learning more about what they believe, and just discussing some of these things. It's always good.
Your shoes, wash your hands as you enter, and do your best not to bring any drugs or tobacco to find the lungar. Anyone can visit a Gurdwara and partake in the service and meal. You only need to follow basic etiquette. Cover your head, remove your shoes, wash your hands as you enter, and do your best not to bring any drugs or tobacco.
Actually, funny enough, the mosque I visited, I mean, obviously, we shouldn't be bringing drugs to pretty much any religious place. That's not a good thing. And besides covering your head, the mosque I visited actually had some similar rules. Only because like a lot of people would kneel and pray on the ground. They wanted you to remove your shoes, and if you were going to be taking part in the prayer, ablution was important to them as well and stuff like that. So like a lot of these things were actually important to the mosque I visited as well in regard to entering the prayer rooms and things. Again, going to be dropping this week, Friday hopefully, so be looking out for that.
The most important Gurdwara in the world is the Hari Mandir, or Golden Temple, in Amritsar, India. In 1604, Guru Arjan completed work on the Golden Temple and had the Guru Granth Sahib installed inside it. As a gesture of religious tolerance, Guru Arjan invited the Muslim Mian Mir to lay the foundation stone of the Golden Temple. The temple has 4 doors opening on all 4 sides, to show the openness to all cultures and peoples. But on the inside, only one door leads to the inner sanctum, indicating that all paths and beliefs eventually lead to the one God. The Golden Temple is the most visited place in the world, with around 6 million.
So I said something earlier for anyone who wasn't in tune. Like, it seems a little bit confusing to me because sometimes like religions like they seem confusing because it seems like they say all religions, no one can really know who God is. No one can actually know the full truth, but every religion has a piece of the truth. But at the same time, then present a pathway or a way to make it to moksha or to reach some sort of higher level and to escape the reincarnation cycle. It just seems sort of like counterintuitive to me to say that every religion has a piece of the pie, but really only ours leads to anything true and fundamental. I guess then the belief would be that all religions and belief systems eventually lead you to Sikhism. Would that be the implication then? That like if you, no matter what you believe, eventually you'll, over the course of your lifetime through reincarnation and things like that, you'll eventually end up becoming a Sikh? Am I understanding that correctly? Is that why they would say that everyone has a piece of the pie, but at the end of the day, everyone eventually finds out that Sikhism is the way to go? Like, is that the implication? I mean, I don't know, but that's what it seems to strike me as.
Million visitors each year. The Langar at the Golden Temple serves a free meal to about 100,000 people each day, making it the world's largest free serving kitchen, all run and staffed by volunteers. And the waiting list to volunteer in the Golden Temple has hundreds of thousands of names on it.
The people on that list will be waiting for a long time. A good way for them to pass the time productively would be to listen to audiobooks over on Audible. While researching this video,
this guy learned about
of Confucius, the Bhagavad Gita,
tying in
or
sponsors.
Eat, Pray, Love. So those are the basics of Sikhism. It isn't even close to covering everything. I probably really only covered about 1%. One video simply can't cover everything. Religions are too diverse, too deep, and mean too many different things to different people. But learning even the basics of anything that millions of people deeply care about gives you an insight into our fellow humans' worldview, and I hope you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy Kajito. I like your videos for the most part. They're normally pretty fun and interesting. But yeah, Sikhism. Those are the basics right there. Sikhism explained really fast. Okay, interesting. I can't wait for it. I hope you were welcomed there. I was welcomed there, Flowers. I was very well welcomed. It was a lovely experience. The one if I could go back, the only thing I would really change would be the camera that I brought with me. The camera I brought with me gave me a little bit of issue about halfway through the visit. It still worked. I still got video footage and stuff, and the video still turned out. Again, I am releasing a video, so it worked. It turned out fine. It's just that halfway through, the camera quality degraded a bit. It recovered it by the end of the video, but in the middle it was a little bit wonky for a bit of their time. But other than that, besides some technical issues, everything went well. I was well welcomed. The imam treated me well. Ahmed, who was a guy I met there, not a different Ahmed than the one I interviewed on this channel, but Ahmed was a servant there at the mosque and gave us a tour, talked to us. It was very friendly. Not everyone, but a lot of people greeted us, said hi, enjoyed some good food. That was some good stuff, but yeah, it was a good time, and I'm sure you will enjoy it when it comes out. I have a suggestion. There's a channel called the Muslim's Lantern. They go live every now and then, so maybe you can go live with them and ask some questions. Hey, I can check it out. The Muslim Lantern. Yeah, I'll have to check it out sometime after this live stream. Sounds like interesting. There was a podcast not that long ago I reached out to. It wasn't too big. I forget what it was called though. There was a podcast I reached out to. It was like a Muslim podcast. It was rooted in the European area somewhere. They never got back to me, so nothing ever happened there. But yeah, I can see if I can maybe partner up with someone from there. The hardest thing I found right now with YouTube, one of the hardest things I found with YouTube is just making good partnerships and making good connections, because a lot of times if people don't know you, they won't respond to your emails or your reach outs or your DMs or whatever. So they sort of just ignore you, which I don't take it personally. I mean, I know what it's like as a YouTuber myself. I get tons of emails, DMs, and comments, and my channel is even not even that big, but I get thousands of comments and emails and DMs and things like that. So I get it. You can't respond to everything, but that's one of the hardest things, is making those connections and trying to land those videos or land those interviews or make new friendships, things like that. It's a challenge. It's a challenge that comes with the job, but I enjoy it. People do answer. Eventually you do get the right thing, and so eventually people reach out to you. I've had I just had someone reach out to me not that long ago to be on their channel, so I'm looking forward to that. It's always fun when people reach out to you. It makes my job a lot easier. I'm like, yeah, I can do an interview and not have to worry about editing or posting it myself, because they will take care of all of that. It's a great feeling knowing that I don't have to do all the post editing afterwards. But yeah, no, I'll have to check out the Muslim Lantern sometime. It's already 7:53. My word, man. I had a lot of fun with this video. Mainly because Sikhism is so new to me. Everything about this was new. So there's a lot to comment on, a lot to learn. Hello, Sacramento today. It's like 7:53. I'm about 53 minutes into the live stream, and I was like, man, I was thinking for a hot second there. I was like, where is Sacramento today? Because there's a handful of listeners / fans of this channel. I don't know what you want to call them. It's weird. It's weird for me to say I have fans of this channel. I don't know. It's strange. I just think of myself as a normal human being, so I don't like thinking of having fans in my life. Just people who interact with me. Friends, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, I was like, man, Sacramento today hasn't said anything on this chat. Must be a little late to the party. There's also a handful of other people off the top of my head I could name that I normally see them in my chat at some point. They're pretty avid followers, at least on the live stream end of things. So I'm always like, I wonder who's going to pop in today. But I knew this live stream was going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit less action, just because just because it was so late to announcing it. I didn't announce it ahead of time, really. I just uploaded it like an hour before the live stream started. I took a weekend off. Like, I took a whole weekend break from like content creation because I was just a little bit burnt out from the whole Ramadan challenge thing. Because I was posting like a short every day. I was posting 3 or 4 videos a week. Like, I was just posting nonstop, and I burnt myself out a little bit. So like, I took a break there over the weekend. I was just like, all right, I'm not going to post anything on Saturday. I did spend some time video editing, but I wasn't like, I needed a little bit of a break. So that's why I was a little bit late to the party here today. I was like, I'm going to do a live stream today. Kind of last minute posted about it. I wasn't rushing myself. Anyway, I'm rambling on at this point. What do you have to say, Sacrament, today? I didn't even read it. Why not visit a Greek Orthodox church or a Coptic Orthodox church? I plan to. Me and my one friend is Eastern Orthodox, and we've discussed going to an Orthodox church together, but he's a busy guy, so no date was ever really established. Maybe that'll still happen, but I do want to visit an Orthodox church. I would love if either someone reach out to me or I could find someone to do like a tour with and to do a visit, maybe join a mass service sometime. That'd be cool. So I do want to visit an Orthodox church or a Catholic church or something along those lines. I just haven't yet got the opportunity to. That struck me as a good video. Because obviously I could visit a Orthodox church and just sort of make a video about it. But I would love to do another video like I did with the mosque. Again, you'll see it coming out this week, where I have a little bit more of a camera setup with me, more video footage of the actual like events and stuff going on inside, maybe even a little tour. I want to. I do plan to, Sacramento. I just need to get it all set up and all that stuff. So give me time. Hopefully, I will be able to do that at some point in the future. By the way, I did not know that during Ramadan, because they were sick or something like that, that they will make up for it after Ramadan by fasting some more for the days they missed. But I didn't know that 6 days were spent in this month as well. Interesting. I didn't realize I was so noticed. Or I didn't notice or something. I'm not exactly sure what you meant to say there, but I understand. No, I wasn't offended or anything. I also have a life outside of YouTube, so, I wasn't offended or anything. I was just like, oh, there's people in my mind. I'm like, I wonder if they're going to hop into the chat today. They're pretty common regulars. Sometimes, and most of the times they do, but occasionally they don't. I'm like, okay, they must be doing something else. But that's why. I like, the longer I do this, the more people I start like, oh, I recognize their names. So also the time difference, like sometimes you post, I will go live today, but your today is my tomorrow or yesterday. So it makes me confused. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That is true. Time zones, man, they're rough. Like, okay, so funny story, actually, early on in this channel, this is like back when I had like 40 subscribers, like my channel was small, like it's still small, but back then it was super small, like super small. Like I got like 10 views a video, if even. Anyway, I'm just emphasizing how small it was. But back when my channel was really small, I did an interview. Not my first interview, but one of my early interviews. And I said, hey, why don't we do an interview at like 6 p.m.? And then the day of or whatever, I realized, oh crap. I meant 6 p.m. Eastern time, their Pacific time, and we both were like confused about times because we're like, oh, we're on different time zones. We have a 3-hour difference between us. So the interview didn't take place. The interview was delayed by hours on end because of our miscommunication. So yes, I have come to realize time zones are a big nuisance when it comes to YouTube. Only because like you're like, man, like people from all across the world watch this channel. I if you've ever been on the live stream, you'll see people saying like, I'm from this country. People are all over the world. So like it's so difficult. Like you can't find a time where everything lines up. It's just you can't. It's impossible. But I try my best to make what I can do with what I got. But yeah, time zones, man, they mess with you. But hey, I can't help it. I live in the Eastern time zone. I post on the Eastern time zone schedule. But I'm glad you guys are able to tune in when you can. By the way, are you in America or Europe? I'm on the East Coast of America, so Eastern time zone. That's where I am, Eastern time zone. I'm not sure in Europe what Europe time zones would be. I'm not sure if their time zone. I don't think they would be in Eastern time zone at all. They would be in a different time zone. But yeah, Eastern time zone is where I'm at. So on the east side of America. You could also visit Sacramento and tour the Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament. Then you could do a tour of the Capitol building. You could also visit Sacramento. Wait, where is Sacramento exactly? Sacramento, California. Oh, California. Wait. Is that what you're saying? You could also visit Sacramento and tour the Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament. Wait, I'm curious now. The Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament. Bing, you have some weird ads. All right. Cathedral of the Blessed Sacrament. It's in California. My word. You know, I would love to do this. I would have to take an airplane to get there, but I definitely would consider doing this at some point in my life. Most historically significant buildings in Sacramento. Built at a time when Sacramento was transitioning from a mining town into a capital city. Huh. Fascinating. Mother Church of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Sacramento. Capital of the state of California. Huh. Yeah, maybe. Maybe sometime I'll have to visit out there. I would have to literally plan a trip out of that. But I would have to take off work and stuff. But yeah. Huh. That'd be interesting to visit. Maybe. Maybe I will have to do that. We'll see. Yeah, I'm following you from Algeria, and now it's 1 a.m., the 26th. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sometimes I wonder if some of my live stream viewers and stuff will be like, it's 3 a.m. here, 2 a.m. here, 1 a.m., midnight. I'm just like, man, do you guys get any sleep? I'm sorry for you. I know you love this channel, but man, you need to sleep. You didn't know Sacramento was the capital of California? Hey, look, don't judge me, Sacramento, today. Do not judge me. Geography was never my strong suit. I passed, but it was not my strong suit. Mainly because I was always like, if I can just look it up online, why do I need to memorize it? No, I did not know Sacramento was the capital of California. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I am a disgrace to American geography all around the world. But yeah, anyway, it's past 8 o'clock. It's time for me to head out. I need to do some errands before I go to bed and fall asleep. And I have an interview tomorrow on someone's podcast. I'm not sure when that'll be actually released, but I'll let you guys know. But yeah, so anyway, I'm going to be heading out. As always, friends, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. But really, at the end of the day, I just want you guys to go out there and like the world yourselves, my friends. Farewell.